Hi, this is Christina from thegodlyindianmom.com. Today's book review is on My Experiments with Truth by M.K.Gandhi. So, this book I would recommend for adults because there are some adult content in this particular book. However, I think it is a wonderful read. Like if you can skip over some of the sections, it's a wonderful book to read about Indian history. And obviously, Gandhiji and Nehruji are like two important figures in Indian history, whom one must read to understand the Indian freedom movement and Indian independence. To understand this part of Indian history, these two figures are like the most important people. And I read this book like many years ago. I actually wrote a blog post on it, but I thought it would be a good way to make a video about it and to remember. And it's a book that I really enjoyed, so I thought I would make a video on it. So this is one book that I do definitely recommend because Gandhiji is a well-known figure through the whole of the world, and his non-violent movement idea was then taken over by Nelson Mandela, and he also implemented a similar thing so that South Africa got its independence. So it was he is an inspiring figure who had inspiring ideas. And it's wonderful to learn from the person themselves and from their writings, and that is one reason I started reading this book. It was really very inspiring for me. I learned a lot of things from this book, and it also nurtured that love for reading into Indian history. So in this particular book, he details about his early life, his middle life, and what led to become that freedom fighter. So it starts with his family and his early marriage, and then how he went to study abroad, and the people he met, the experiences that he had, and his life in South Africa, and him coming back and realizing that the fight needs to begin from home. So he came back, and being a very successful lawyer, then letting go and going and fighting for the common man. So he started with the common man. It was sometimes he was against Indians too. It's not like I'm against the British all the time. It was also like I'm for the common man, to make sure everybody is satisfied, especially with the industrialists. Those industrialists supported him, but there were moments where he had to talk against them also, when he knew that they were not doing right. So that was very inspiring. And then to see how the negotiations were going on, and how many times the British went back and forth, and how they brought on so many different people from different backgrounds and different languages, how they all came together to push this freedom movement, and so that we have all the freedoms that we have today. Is such a fascinating book. Like there are what I really love is like that simplicity that is in him, for hand spun things, and buy Indian, and also like the traditional values that are there with Gandhiji, which I really admire. And also like how he gives a lot of importance to physical exercise, and like what is it that made him, like so many fasting he did, many times he was not well also, but the way he persevered, I think that was like he was very sick certain times, but he was like, no, we have to win this from their hands. He was with that spirit, and that I think was very inspiring for me, like that perseverance. And that is why people must read Gandhiji and Nehruji. There's so much that we can learn and take from them. And especially here also, but there's like the certain areas in this book, which I would say, like certain sections, where he has with respect to how he thinks about sexuality, I would highly recommend not to go over, like, go too much into those particular sections, like physical intimacy and all that. So, those particular ideas I do not also endorse, and I do not those are not particularly what I would think or on those particular things. And if you can skip through that, I think it's a great book, and there's so much to learn out of this particular book. So this is it from me. Until next time, see you. Bye.